Hey guys, back with another Maplestory video here. This time, doing a full showcase of the Paladin remastered skill wheels, skills, buffs that they got. I'll showcase my new stats at the end and just go through the whole skill wheels, V matrix, things like that for all those Paladin players, and just anyone wants to see how much buffs, rebalancing that Paladin's got. This is the video. Let's get into it. So right off the bat, we removed all of the buffs from level 1 and 30, and so we have a lot more passive skills. You'll see in here, Weapon Mastery gave us 1,000 free attack. All explorers got that, so that was nice of them. I don't know what that was for, but I ain't complaining. Vessel of Light is our new elemental charges. You see it includes physical damage as well, so that's a huge boost. Previously, it was only giving physical attack, but then our Threaten, this is Noble Demand. You can see it's 100% crit, 100% success, but the crit res, crit damage are much lower than previously. It was previously 60 and I think 30 crit damage res. But the nice thing is now we don't have to put it on my preset. 15-second cooldown, 30-second duration. So basically we can use it more flexibility and not have to spam it. Now another thing I liked, a little quality of life change, is this little toggle where in this state right here, if you don't press, the arrow left or right keys twice, it's not going to charge. And that was something that I had issues with Lotus and things like that, where I would charge when I didn't want to. And so that was a nice quality of life change that I appreciate. And then Divine Shield, another interesting skill that got remastered. That one attack nullifying against is something interesting. I swear before that in this arc run, I actually survive screen crack without shell because I think of this Divine Shield. I'm not 100% certain, but I think that was just lucky by me. I was able to nullify that one skill. And then other than that, everything is pretty straightforward. Power Shot, Combat Order, things like that. Same buffs that we previously had. And then we'll get into the new buffs. Blast went from 12 to 15 lines. It went down from 235 to 220 skill percent. So those 3 lines are huge. Was not expecting that. That's one of our bigger buffs. I don't think too many classes got 3 lines to their main skill. So that's really nice. And then Heaven's Hammer was changed to a bossing attack. So there I'm showing that we're going to get 16 lines for Blast. So that's just a 30% boost to our base damage across the board. And then Heaven's Hammer right here, now a full-time mobbing skill. They reduced the hit count by a ton, but they changed it from 30% boss attack to 30% crit rate. So it's no place in bossing at all, just for mobbing. And then all of these things, this Divine Blessing skill is 15% final damage, but it was a passive previously, so it's not actually a 15% boost. Now it's just a buff, but it's still net 0 for final damage. And so then the big change is these Divine Mark and Divine Judgment skills. You can see Divine Mark is for mobbing, and Divine Judgment is the huge one for bossing. So you can see every 4 times you attack with Divine Charge, it's going to create this little explosion. So you'll see right here, I'm going to show it every 4. And then right there, that little explosion right there is just free damage. I don't know how effective it is in mobbing, but, that's a nice little change. And then you can see it also has trios to it. You can boost it up with the V matrix, so I definitely will show that later on in this video. And then Divine Judgment is the big one for bossing. Every 3 times, it's going to stack up to 3 times with every blast. And then on the 4th blast attack, it's going to burst this Divine Judgment. 20 lines, 220%. Not going to lie, it's pretty busted, pretty OP. Not complaining at all, but I think that this skill is, again, just free lines, right? I like to look at it as so that's every 4 attacks, you get 20 lines. So basically 5 lines added to your blast on top of the 3 lines we got. So we got a total of 8 lines, just baseline blast. So that's going to help our burst. That's also going to help our baseline, our minimum, our floor damage. So I'll take it. But this is one of the biggest reasons, and you level it up with nodes, up to 60, and it's going to hit like a truck, and it's just free passive lines. So that's really, really nice. One of the reasons why Pallies are really strong right now, there's still time to jump on the bandwagon, guys. Pallies are really, really good, and more Pallies to the game is good for everybody. But then we'll get into these other skills. This is just a passive buff. Again, similar and then greater. Vessel of Light is our elemental charges. Again, just more stacks of physical damage, physical attack, and it's just free. And the nice thing about this is that now you'll see in this that holy power attacks. So I'm going to show you right here, Vessel of Light. Holy power skills create the stacks, right? So what are holy power skills? You'll see in the skill description, Blast and Divine Charge are holy power skills. So basically, just spam Blast, spam Divine Charge in mobbing or bossing, and you're going to keep those hammers up forever. And that's a really nice quality of life change. And, it just makes it more mindless and makes it easier to keep up your hammers. Previously in my Lotus videos, I would drop my hammers and lose a ton of damage. So definitely not the case. And also gives you passive buffs, physical damage, physical attack, and also that HP decreasing skills. So it's huge keeping those hammers up. That charges up. It's only 30 seconds now versus a minute, but in bossing, that's not an issue. Sometimes in mobbing, I end up losing, dropping my hammers when I'm auto batting because we have so many skills now and I'm walking around a ton. My party is really good, but overall, it's just easy to maintain those charges and refill them. Just understand it's now 30 seconds versus 60-second buff. And then here for hyperstats, you'll see no threat hyperstats anymore, hyper passives. So now we're going 3 Blast, Reinforce extra strikes. Both were already used before, but now we get 20% crit damage to Blast. Just another boost to our main skills with the threat and changes. And now I chose Heaven's Hammer cooldown cutter, which is really nice for mobbing. And this last one, those last two, Heaven's Hammer cooldown cutter and this Divine Charge extra strider, strictly for training and mobbing. Honestly, all of these are really good. I wouldn't have an argument with any of them. I just like extra lines altogether. That's usually the best damage boost. And then the cooldown cutter allows for Heaven's Hammer to be on a 5-second cooldown versus 10, and it is arguably your best mobbing skill because it hits full map, basically, and it's forward and back. So it's got a huge range, does a ton of damage, 30% crit rate on top of it. It's basically a one-shot for the full map every 5 seconds. It's really, really good. So you can see our mobbing is way better. I love the playstyle of just play the game. Smite Shield right there is, again, another mobbing full map clearing stun. So that's going to be nice for Lotus with the bombs. You can actually stun the bombs before they get to you when you're in trouble. I think that's a nice addition. And then on top of it, Divine Charge hits the platform above on top of Heaven's Hammer. All 3 skills are really, really good. But now we're going to get into nodes. So now for nodes, it is now Final Attack, Blast, and Divine Judgment, Divine Mark. Those are all in one trio. So you want to max those 3 now. You can obviously include Divine Charge, which I have, and Heaven's Hammer, Smite Shield, whatever it is. But basically here I have 5 trios, just trying to get as much Divine Judgment as possible and maxing Final Attack and Blast. So that's what I have right now. I didn't invest a lot into nodes. I just used what I had to try and get 60 for all 3 of those. And right now this would be my bossing setup. Crit, Sharp Eyes, Speed Infusion, and Defense Smash 4 or Final Strike 4, depending on what content I'm doing. And then those 5 nodes. Eventually I'll reduce it down to 3 trios, but right now this is what I got. Level 43, so I can get that built-in defense ignore, and then just as much as I could, trying to get 60s across those 3. So that's something I'm working on, but these are your new trios. You want to focus on those 3 skills, and then for mobbing, of course, you can do Heaven's Hammer, Divine Charge, if you so please. That's just preference. And so here's a little gameplay, just me playing. Just love the aesthetic of Paladins. I mean, this is kind of why we did remaster in the first place. Why I rerolled. Just I love the new changes to all the skills. It's so aesthetically pleasing. And Smite Shield is awesome as well. I'm going to show you in a little bit. just the full map clearing like I mentioned before. And I just love playing the game. Content is so much easier. Dailies, like tangs, just feels like less of a hassle. Everything is just nice and smooth. I think Paladins have a good, are decent now in a mobbing setting and training. So they're definitely not just leeching and running around, killing stuff with our hammers. We actually can contribute a little bit. And obviously in bossing, Paladins are, in my opinion, top tier. It's still early. People are still trying to max trios, but I'll show you in a few videos when I get some more content, max my trios, practice a little bit more. Paladins are up there. A lot of the explorers are really good. DKs are hitting good numbers. Heroes have their crit res now. A lot of the mages look pretty strong. Thieves, DB, dual blades are still top tier in my opinion. But as a Paladin main, like I said, there's still time to jump on the bandwagon, guys. It's a really, really fun class. Still a lot of utility. Here I'm showing the 1,000 physical attack from just passive weapon mastery for all warriors. But there's still time, guys. Paladin is an awesome class. Flashy, needed in all content. Does a ton of damage. Mobbing is pretty good. And just, it's awesome. And so I'm going to talk about skill wheels now. This is my bossing setup. Previously, I used, Blast plus Threaten or Noble Demand, but now I use Noble Demand as that far left skill in the middle. I use it manually now, so my preset is just Blast plus my Soul Summon, my Pure Summon, and then across the top row is pretty much the same. It's Res, my Heal, and then Smite Shield on the top row. Middle row is Noble Demand, Up Jump, Charge, and then bottom row is Synchro, Blast, Pure Summon, preset. So this is my bossing. It's pretty straightforward. Still, a lot of buttons. Everything has utility and purpose, and I need to see all of them. So this is my setup. Obviously, you can do whatever you want to do, whatever works for you. And then here, I'll show you my stats. And this is my stats previously. We got that 1K passive physical attack, and then we got 30% physical attack percent and 40% physical damage percent just from passives. So a ton of percent stats, huge damage on top of our Divine Judgment, on top of our Blast extra line. So Paladins, I don't know, the devs really liked us for some reason. I'm not complaining. Excited about the changes, and I'm excited to show some of the content, the PRs, the testing, things, how we stack up. We're doing Lotus next Monday, and we'll continue to do Arc and things like that. But I just love the aesthetic of the class with the graphics up. I love obviously the DPS boost and everything like that. But I'm just excited where the Paladin class is at, and the threat changes, so far don't feel terrible. Obviously, you're gonna need other classes to make up for it. Covert is gonna take a step back, but overall, I think in bossing, Paladins are really competitive, really, really strong still. And I'm excited to see a lot of the Paladins PRs and how they're doing, and showing up and representing the Paladin class. So stay tuned for a lot of my PRs, seeing where I stack up. There's a lot of Paladin content as well on YouTube. You can check them out. I don't know, there's a lot of Paladins making content, doing really well. So check them out as well. I hope to clear Mulong soon, floor 44, possibly 45, do some Lotus content, guild content, things like that. So just stay tuned, and thanks for watching. I'll see you next time.